Usain Bolt breaks a 9.69-second world record while opening his arms and beating his chest at 80 meters in the middle of the race. How is that even possible? Florence Griffith Joyner, known to the world as FloJo, ran the 100 meters in 10.49 seconds. In 1988, that record has remained untouched for 37 years. The Cold War ended, the internet arrived, smartphones took over, yet nobody has been able to break that time. But here's the most interesting part. Coaches, biomechanics researchers, and sports scientists who studied both athletes analyzed multiple factors, and one of the biggest was technique. Specifically, 5 tiny elements that ordinary people do not even notice. Ground contact time, stride length, stride frequency, hip angle, shin angle, arm drive angle, torso lean, head alignment, jaw tension, foot strike pattern. It is a symphony, and if even 2 or 3 of these variables are off, you automatically drop 1 tier lower. That is exactly why Tyson Gay and Asafa Powell, who were both actively competing during Usain Bolt's era, were incredibly fast, yet neither of them could consistently beat Bolt.
Usain Bolt though getting into his running. Here he comes. Usain Bolt challenged by Tyson Gay. Usain Bolt 2 clear meters. Tyson Gay.
Bolt's biomechanics and speed maintenance were unusually efficient, and that efficiency ate away every single hundredth of a second. So body form is not just a cosmetic thing, it is an actual measurable speed difference. Now let's first talk about head and eye position. This is one of the most underrated elements in sprinting. Most people think a head is just a head. Keep it straight and run. But in reality, the exact angle of the head controls your entire spine alignment, breathing pattern, and even hamstring tension. The National Strength and Conditioning Association, which is one of the world's top strength and conditioning organizations, clearly states in its published guidelines that during the maximum velocity phase of a sprint, the head should remain in natural alignment with the trunk. That means the chin should neither be too high nor too low. The eyes should stay focused 10 to 15 meters ahead, not on the finish line and not on the feet either. Now look at the science behind this. If you've ever studied yoga or physiotherapy, then you know that neck angle directly affects the hamstrings. It is part of the neural chain. Excessive head tilt can affect running mechanics and posture, and stride length gets slightly compromised. During the biomechanical analysis of the 2009 World Championships in Athletics, Usain Bolt's head position was checked frame by frame, and it remained neutral throughout the entire 100 meters, not a single bobble. JC Physiotherapy's published analysis specifically mentioned that his vertical head oscillation was minimal. That means his head was not constant bouncing up and down, nor moving side to side. That is energy efficiency. Every millimeter your head wobbles is energy your legs are not receiving. In the case of Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, Olympics.com's technique breakdown clearly states, head neutral, eyes straight ahead, no looking down. Both athletes, despite different body types and different eras, mastered this one principle perfectly. So remember this, head straight, eyes focused 10 to 15 meters ahead. It sounds simple, but 90% of beginners get it wrong. Now comes the next layer, and this is where it gets interesting. You would think the face has nothing to do with sprinting. But jaw and forehead tension are actually one of the biggest hidden enemies in sprinting. I am about to tell you something you have probably never heard before. Bud Winter, the legendary American sprint coach who trained 27 Olympians, had a famous coaching cue: get the wrinkles out of your forehead. In other words, remove the tension from your forehead and drop those shoulders and run fast, stay loose. He documented this in his 1981 book, Relax and Win. Now the question is, why does this matter? The answer is scientific. When you clench your jaw, the masseter muscle becomes tense. The masseter is connected to the neck muscles. The neck muscles are connected to the trapezius. The trapezius controls shoulder mechanics. That means one tight jaw can trigger a complete chain reaction that restricts your arm swing. And because in sprinting, arm speed directly drives leg speed. Slow arms create slow legs. Simply Faster once published a brilliant analysis of Bolt's race at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. At 70 meters, when Bolt started celebrating, technically his form should have completely broken down, but his next 20-meter splits from 70 to 90 meters were still 0.82 and 0.83 seconds. He only slowed down in the final 10 meters because of the celebration. During the 2009 World Championships in athletics, Usain Bolt only tapped his chest after the race, not during it. What was the difference? Upper body relaxation. Jaw loose, face relaxed, no tension. Bolt's coach Glenn Mills built his entire coaching philosophy around this idea. Upper body relaxed, jaw loose, shoulders down. These principles are the foundation of sprinting science, originally established by Bud Winter back in the 1940s. The fastest man in the world, and his coach tells him not to clench his jaw. Think about that. This is not just a cosmetic detail. A peer-reviewed sports science research paper clearly states that sprint performance directly depends on muscle relaxation speed. In other words, the athlete who can relax their muscles faster between contractions is the faster athlete. Tension freezes the system. Relaxation lets it cycle. So the next time you sprint, try a simple test. If you can smile during a sprint, you are probably in the right zone. If you cannot smile, you are working against yourself. The third layer is shoulders and arms. This is where most people completely misunderstand sprinting. Most people think sprinting is only a legs game, but in reality, during elite sprinting, the arms and legs are equal partners. And when arm mechanics go wrong, leg mechanics automatically suffer. Because this is basically Newton's laws of motion, specifically the third law, applied to human biomechanics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Opposite reaction, and arm swing stabilizes your torso so rotational energy does not get wasted. Now look at the numbers. The National Strength and Conditioning Association references suggest that the lead arm usually stays around a 70-degree angle, with the hand near cheek level. The trail arm can open up to around 130 degrees, with the hand slightly behind the hip. So while 90 degrees is an average benchmark, the actual arm angle changes dynamically during sprinting. The shoulders must stay low and relaxed. Shelly Ann Fraser-Price literally made this principle part of her career signature. World Athletics archives and multiple interviews mention that when she began serious training in 2007 at MVP Track Club under coach Stephen Francis, her arm placement was systematically refined. She's explained in interviews that she consciously feels and controls every phase of the race, and the reward for that was 5 World Athletics Championships 100-meter titles, an unprecedented level of dominance in sprint history. Now here is a counterintuitive insight. Most people think bigger arm movement means more power, so they tighten their fists like they're throwing punches while sprinting. Wrong. A tight fist creates tension in the forearm, which tightens the bicep, which pulls the shoulder upward, which then jams the entire movement chain. Elite sprinters keep their hands almost loose during a sprint, like they are lightly holding a piece of paper. That is the paradox. Relaxed hands create faster arm speed, and faster arm speed creates faster leg speed. Sprint biomechanics analyses repeatedly mention that the major role of arm action is to stabilize the torso and maintain timing with the legs. In other words, the arms move in perfect synchronization with the legs. That comes through practice, but understanding the principle is the foundation. The fourth layer is the torso and the core. This is probably the most advanced concept in this video, but I will keep it simple. Biomechanical sprint analyses repeatedly show that Usain Bolt's torso remained unusually stable. In the transverse plane, there was extremely minimal unnecessary rotation. That means Bolt's shoulders and hips stayed on an imaginary horizontal line, and that line did not rotate unnecessarily throughout the race. His legs and arms were moving, but his central column stayed rock solid. Why does this matter? Because every degree your torso rotates unnecessarily is energy stolen from forward motion. A loose, rotating torso absorbs the force generated by the hips instead of transferring it through the legs into the ground. Think of it like trying to fire a bullet from a shaking gun. The force exists, but the direction is unstable. Now look at Usain Bolt's actual numbers. His ground reaction force reached 4.2 times his body weight, roughly 3,932 newtons per stride. His ground contact time was only 86 milliseconds. This data was published in a 2018 research paper by Milan Cho in the Kinesiology, Volume 50. To transfer forces at that level efficiently, a stable torso becomes extremely important. The National Strength and Conditioning Association recommends that during the top speed phase, the body angle should stay around 80 to 85 degrees, almost upright, but with a slight forward lean. During the initial drive phase, especially in the first 30 meters, the angle is much more aggressive, around 45 degrees. Managing this transition smoothly is the real art of sprinting. Christian Coleman, who is currently one of the world's top sprinters, is specifically known for mastering this transition. His drive phase is explosive, but he does not rise upright too early. But all of this still comes down to one final thing: foot strike and ground contact. And this is where the real genius is revealed. Only about 35 to 40% of sprinting time is spent on the ground. The remaining 60 to 65%, the athlete is in the air. And inside every single stride, there is one crucial decision being made: where the foot lands and how long it stays on the ground. Heel striking, which most people naturally do while walking, creates a braking force during sprinting. It is simple physics. If your heel lands first, and it lands ahead of your center of mass, then you are effectively applying the brakes to your own forward momentum. This was documented in biomechanical sprint analyses from the 2009 World Championships in athletics. Usain Bolt mainly used a forefoot and midfoot strike pattern, landing under or only slightly ahead of his center of mass. Elite sprint analyses of Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce also show efficient midfoot contact and strong front-side positioning. Now, here comes the counterintuitive part. You would think staying on the ground longer would allow more force production and therefore more speed. Wrong. Bolt's 86 millisecond contact time is already in the elite range. Top sprinters usually stay between 80 and 100 milliseconds. But this is where ankle stiffness and reactive strength become important. When the foot touches the ground, the ankle joint behaves like a spring. Force is absorbed quickly and then released quickly. This quality is partly genetic, but it can also be trained through plyometric exercises like depth jump and bounding. And this is where the real secret appears. Elite sprinters keep their foot on the ground only for the exact amount of time needed to store and release elastic energy, not even 1 millisecond longer. This is subconscious neural training that takes years to develop. There is another layer to this. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce has mentioned in interviews that during the early phase of her career, her forward lean and balance control were not perfect. Coach Stephen Francis systematically refined those mechanics in 2007. The result? Her personal best improved from 10.85 to 10.60, and she became the most decorated women's 100-meter sprinter in history. That means genetics matter, but body mechanics can still be improved significantly. So the real takeaway is this: people think sprinters are born fast, but in reality, sprinters learn correct form. Head neutral, jaw loose, shoulders down, arms moving in a 90-degree hip-to-lip motion, torso rigid like a steel column, foot strike on the forefoot under the center of mass. These 5 elements are common in every elite sprinter, whether it is Usain Bolt, Florence Griffith Joyner, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, or Sha'Carri Richardson. You can start working on this today. Before every sprint session, do a simple mirror drill. Stand upright, keep your head straight, jaw relaxed, shoulders dropped, and arms at roughly 90 degrees. Feel this position once, then go to the track. Slowly, over time, it will become muscle memory. And when you sit in the blocks for your next race, these 5 elements will start executing automatically. The real question is, how far can you refine your form? Because sprinting is not just a game of talent, it is a game of attention to detail, frame by frame, millisecond by millisecond. If you found this deep dive interesting, I would appreciate a subscribe, because in the next video, we will break down the 3 phases of sprinting: drive, acceleration, and top speed, and explain what elite athletes do differently in each phase that ordinary runners do not. Until then, practice in front of the mirror and run relaxed.